Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Breaking Barriers. I am back again with special guests. Woo!
Yay!
Okay, you know me. I'm Angelina Braxton, co-founder,
Larry Braxton.
and
And Malika Williams.
yay!
Yay!
All right, and we have Malika Williams from the Live Outreach. Okay,
It's the live
the
outreach.
Live.
Everybody always say live because they know I'm lit, but it is the live outreach.
That's so funny.
I used
Yes.
to have a race car called Is It Live?
Really?
And the people, I heard one person say, Is it live? Is it live?
All the time. So I
yeah.
get that all the time. Yes,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Because
Yeah.
it's live. I couldn't wait. So yeah, it's just, and it's live.
No.
I mean live.
It's the live. It's the
Yeah,
live
live.
outreach.
Because I
Yeah.
remember
Okay,
you were
like
like, I'm
living.
just trying to live.
Yeah, I'm just trying to live. So, yes.
I love that.
Okay, so Malika, the way we want to just get started is cool. First, I just want to give a little insight, if a little intro. So Malika is the founder of the Live Outreach.
Yes.
Okay, because she's trying to live, Live. But what people don't know is Malika also is kind of like my mentor. She don't even know it.
Oh,
Still a
God.
mentorship from her.
yeah.
Sneaking it. She's somebody I can always count on. I can call and or connect with, and get answers about nonprofit. My questions. I'm new in the community,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to talk about. And she's been out here a minute. Let's just get it started. Malika, what made you? How did you start a nonprofit?
So, you know what? The with nonprofit work, I think that we all want to do that in a sense, right? Because we all have that, connection with community, especially when you grew up in a time where, you had your grandma and they were involved with feeding all the kids. They came to your house. Your house was the house to spend the night over. So I feel like in a sense we all have community in some type of sense just of, our childhood and things like that. But ultimately, I was a foster kid as a teenager. I wasn't a foster kid growing up, but as a teenager, I entered foster care. And so it opened my eyes to realize that the demographic is a little different because if I was an infant or a little kid, a toddler going into foster care versus me being a teenager going into foster care. So, later on being an adult and realizing that, hey, it was more resources and things that I could have been more effective with in my life if those things were present. So how do I represent that for that demographic of kids that I feel like a lot of times is lost in? I mean, I know that we have so many issues in our communities, but what about those kids that are living with an aunt, a grandparent, someone else that's not their parent? Even if it's not foster kid, that it's still like a lack of community as far as those individual kids. And so that was one of the things that inspired that because a lot of times nobody knew that I was in foster care. When I was a kid in school, like all my friends, nobody never knew that I was living with a family that really wasn't my family. I went on with my everyday thing and, like what you do as a kid and all of that. Nobody never knew though that I was a foster kid. Nobody never knew that. Nobody never knew that.
So they didn't come over, or they didn't, or was it like you said, these are my parents, or what was
Nobody never. It was almost like now that I think about it, it's kind of like how you go day to day. Think about a person you might work with that might be dealing with a domestic dispute consistently or something at home that you would never believe that they were at home dealing with. You work with them every day. They such the sweetest person. We see this on the news all the time when they say, I wouldn't have never thought they would have. I wouldn't have never, could have never knew. So it's things like that. I was a kid where I went to school and I was around the same friends and stuff and nobody never really asked about what was going on in my home life. Or, what was really going on. It's just like I was functioning, but I was functioning where it was kind of like to in a survival mode, if that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense.
And so that's what made me say, you know what? I felt like when I went through all the processes as a young woman, so I was a teen mom, I ended up becoming incarcerated at 17. I had some anger issues and things like that. So like peeling some of those layers back to see how did I get there, right? Like where, not saying nobody failed me, but what are some of the resources or tools that I could have had that might have could have helped me not experience some of those things, like being incarcerated at 17 years old, right? Because I feel like there was the breaking point of my life. Just because it's almost like how they say the devil on one shoulder and the angel on another shoulder. Yeah, but it's kind of like you can go in there and learn more things to be more devious and more manipulative, and allow you to be more angry and upset because you being failed even more. Nobody came to save you no more. Still again, you still being failed again. And so I could have used that as opportunity, because I feel like sometimes you gotta not let your situation be your sad story. Not in that sense, right?
Yes.
But and that was just one of the things, is like, I don't want to be that sad story. I really just don't want to be the sad story. Like, I just really don't want to be the sad story. I don't want it. And if it is to uplift other people in the inspiration, not where I'm in a jail suit.
Yeah.
Or, where that's where it then came to that now I have to surrender that. I want to surrender that now to understand that and still continue on. So it's almost like you asking God for forgiveness. If you get me out of this situation, I promise I'll go out there and be that servant that you need me to be, right? If you give me the opportunity, I promise you, I'll show you that I can do that. And me sticking to that word, because a lot of times people don't stick to that word. They just happy to get out that situation. They don't go through what they said that they was gonna really do. And so I just wanted to be the change that I needed. I wanted to be. I want to see that. So let me just be an example of that. I can't demonstrate that if I'm not showing what I'm talking about, right? Exactly. And don't mean I know the answers to everything, but I'm still showing up in the capacity as best as I can.
Yeah, hey, you can help someone else get to at least discuss it with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Answer together, yeah.
And showing up. You got to show up for her to get to the answer, right? She's not hiding.
You got to seek it.
And we have to have uncomfortable conversations in our community, in our households, amongst each other. One of the things a lady told me not too long ago, because one of the things I want to really get into, and I feel like Black people as a culture, our finances. We don't want to talk about our finances. We don't want to discuss that we don't really got no money, because we want to show the next person that we got a lot of money, even though we don't got no money. We don't want to say that we struggling in a way. How can we have other means and different sources of income? Because now everything is like a competition thing. I want to show that I'm living in a bigger, better house than you and your husband, and my kids wearing designer clothes, and so the concept of we have to get out of that. And a lady told me something. She said, one thing about it, other cultures discuss their finances.
Yes.
A lot of other cultures have uncomfortable conversations, and they don't care about telling you that they ain't got no money. They telling you, look, I got an issue, I got an idea, and this is what my situation is. How can you help me? What resources do you have to be able to push me to the next? And I said, wow, I thought about that, because I'm guilty of that. I don't want nobody to know that I only got $25 in my bank account. And I don't know how else can I capitalize off of being like a motivational speaker, or having a book, or all of these things that I have the sources and resources and tools to. Because what you think other cultures do? How you think consulting businesses and stuff come about in just different entities? Because a person say, I got some resources, some knowledge that I can give to somebody else, and I can sell that. I can make some money off of that. Somebody can benefit off of what I'm talking about, or people want to hear that for whatever reason. People want to hear that. So how do you? And so these are the conversations that they having in their living room at dinner, or dining room at dinner, and we not having those conversations. And so that's the thing. Is a lot of what I feel like the uncomfortableness of things is what I want to be a part of.
Exactly, and that's why I really wanted to amplify you, because you be out there, and you go and do your thing. In all these years, I really admire how you left and went to Atlanta. Came back home, remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Through and came, your whole pattern. You went to this place. You never stopped with your community outreach, though. How are you in need and still have the motivation to help?
I think it's more like when it's something that you are like just is in you, not on you, like people say. I think that is something that you is like you eat, sleep, and breathe it. And one of the things is I think about like me having kids is that, one day I won't be here what would I want my grandkids or my great grandkids to be able to say? Well, my great grandmother was a part of this, or my grandmother was a part of that. And I feel like a lot of times it takes a lot of courage and guts and things of just life situations that a lot of times we talk about, but we don't really want to be about it, right? So you don't want to talk about how can we make our finances better, because it's gonna be a lot of ugliness, and then it's gonna be some people might not like you about the things you say and do.
Yes.
Right? And so that's the thing. Everybody kind of want to not be liked. Everybody want to kind of be like in a trend of what is going on, what's popular, right? Instead of being realistic about what we need to do. It's like being a parent. That's how life is. Life is like being a parent. You want your kids to love you and like you, but they not going to always love and like you. But and later on in life, guess what they're going to say? I appreciated them talks. And I'm sure it's been times we as adults can all say, no matter what the relationship was with our parents, it was things they instilled in us or taught us that was life-changing that might have came later in life. Like, my daddy sure did say something like that about that. It was a situation my mama sure did, and this resonates with this particular situation right now, right here. So I think it's just more the passion, and it takes a village. So I know it's not just me. And I know that I'm not the only person that God gave this to. It's other people too. So then you got to amplify them too, because sometimes they be kind of scared too. I don't really want to. Well, is it really worth for me to go out and why I'm out there by myself and I really gonna feel? So then you see the other people and they say, oh my God, I thought I was the only one that's been feeling like that.
No.
And so that's when you get your allies, you start building your foundation, you start building. But see, me personally, I just been a person that's always been okay with being, solo. If I gotta take that on the chin by myself, then I'm be willing to take that on the chin by myself, because I have to be who I am. I have to be true to what makes me sleep good at night. And if I don't do that, then it's gonna always be a problem for me. You get what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
it's kindred souls here.
When you were talking about that, because all of this time, remember you thinking, she the real estate lady throwing down, doing all that. It was all good for a little while, okay? But then you know how it is. It's a cycle. We lost 2 houses. Yeah. Shame, didn't want to tell nobody all that. You holding all of that. It took all
Why
those
though?
years. You know what? We was weak. I mean, it was a weakness.
Now let me say this. Let me ask you this. Do you feel that when you are at a capacity in life where you are up, right? So say you didn't got to a point and you didn't beat the odds of what people thought your life would be, and you come to a point where it's a crossroad where God is humbling you for whatever reason that is, because I wouldn't know. But we all, I done had to be humble quite a few times. So being humble, and then that's why we feel like that. But I feel like it shouldn't be nothing that you really should be ashamed of. You think you the only person that's going through that or experienced that in your life. But as long as you got,
That's just youth.
and let me say this too, when you have somebody to go through life with, that's what's important.
That's the biggest
That is what's important. When you have somebody that's willing to go through life with you, look, we're going to go through the downs and the ups, and I'm going to still be right, and I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. You done won either way. That's where I honestly feel you win just off of, I'm right here, and guess what? We didn't win. We lost 2 houses. Well, I'm sitting here talking to you right now on the podcast with the same person I done lost that with and going to gain so much more with. You understand what I'm telling you?
And then guess what? Today is the February 6th is the anniversary. He been home for 29 years.
Hey!
I had to remind him. I was like, happy home anniversary. He's like, what is that? I said, today is 29 years. You came home from federal custody.
Yes.
I remember. It was snowy then.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about that, all of this, because I was thinking about the nonprofit. My brother was an ally, but I never even know if I even told you. My husband was incarcerated all them years ago. But we believed the lies. You know how people tell me you got to do it this way, you got to do that. But when you talk about, I can't do it no more, it was my soul. I kept thinking, why is this happening? Why is that? And like what you were saying, it was God, in my opinion, it was God redirecting, saying, listen, I got a different purpose for you. Take all that you got and go put it here and use it there. And when we started, all this stuff started turning. It was like, people like, I had friends call me like, I wouldn't be putting the videos out. I don't know. That ain't you. They used to a different. And I said, this is me now. I mean, it's been me.
And then let me say this too. And if you support who I am and you know what, because the whole time I've ever known you, we've been more on a professional setting. And it's always been about the inmates and incarceration. And if I didn't know anything, I know that community, you know what I'm saying? It's just this particular demographic I know that you was passionate about, but the people overall, because we know overall they are affected. So you know if you locked up, your mama affected, your kids affected, your sister, you know, she used to her brother being there, your nieces and nephews affected. So it's a trickle effect of all the different aspects of people and how those things, you know, are in people's lives. So I if nothing else, I know that. You know what I'm saying? So if you went and did some things that, hey, I'm identifying this is where I need to support it, I feel like it shouldn't be questioned. That's where I'm starting to be at in my life.
Yes.
I don't need to explain to you, hey, this is the direction that I'm going. If you see it, know it, note it, and let's move forward.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because that's why, like, when she was saying, hey, I'm going to really push forward with this because I know this is something that she had been wanting to do. And I'm like, I'm in my head, I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you know?
Right.
Because I feel like when you are passionate and it's like, I don't know if you've seen that LinkedIn post that I said, when you have a light and you try to mask that light, it's going to seep through. So that's almost like if you have a curtain or anything and the sun is bright, it's still going to be a little sun that's going to seep through them blinds and them curtains is going to seep through because it's there. And so that's just kind of what your passion has been along with mine. And so even though it's different entities, it's still people.
Yes.
We want to be
It's a
humane.
family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to. So you were talking about at 17. For a 17-year-old going to jail, do they put you in an adult facility or do you go to a child facility?
They have you with adults. So that's why I was saying that they don't have any kind of way to distinguish. They'll treat you, if you're in a position of an adult, you are an adult, we're going to treat you as an adult. But your mental mentality, of course, is of a child. So you don't have the mindset to understand some of the, you know, like processing that. And I think that, you know, when these kids do these, like they say, the YNs, when they go out and make these decisions, y'all want to have a switch and go out and do all these things. I'm not saying that they do not need to be held accountable for their actions. I feel that it should be a significant, effective rehabilitation plan, if anything, because I feel like, no, that's just like you wouldn't want your 14-year-old daughter with a 25-year-old man, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want your and not saying it like that, but in the sense of where that's at. What can a 30-year-old man teach a 15 or 16, 17-year-old boy that is, you get what I'm saying, as far as, and not saying that's always the process in jail, because I've met a lot of good people that just was at the wrong place at the wrong time, dealing with the wrong people. It's not saying that it's all terrible, horrible people. Yes, but I do feel that the system doesn't have a way to distinguish who can be filtered out of that or not, because you could be a person that's really like, you really need to be you need to be under lockdown. Yes, you shouldn't be, and you got too many psychological, it's too many other attributes that would allow you to be a liability to the community. And then you got some people that really is just misguided. They situation from when they was a kid, because most of if you look at the statistics, of course, foster kids like myself, the outlook of my life, I was supposed to be, of course, a teen mother, you know, homeless, drug addicted, you know, all of the statistic wise, those was the things that they were saying my life would be. And so exactly. So when you think about a lot of people that's incarcerated, and then you start stemming back to the childhood, a lot of them is abandoned, abused, neglected. That's what I'm saying.
When you're locked in survival mode from day one, you don't have chances to make plans and to see past
your day-to-day
survival.
Yes, your day-to-day living. If I'm trying to eat today, you think I'm thinking about tomorrow? I'll get there when I get there.
Exactly. It ain't promised. And then, like, talking about certain demographics, we won't live beyond 20. I won't live beyond 25.
I have
so I ain't
20
gonna worry
friends.
about that.
And that was our that was our conversation. You know, we was 17, 18, 19, and getting to 21 was like the goal.
Wow.
Man, so you
It's
talk
sad.
about just not seeing past tomorrow.
And then you know what? Where did that come from? Where did that?
was taught.
You could only.
The
That's what I'm
media.
saying. It's so many things that we are
Systemically.
programmed
Yeah, systemic.
in our community. Like, why would that? And then as you seeing people that you growing up with that made that decision, hey, they're gonna be the dope dealer. Because I mean, I remember being a kid and growing up, and you remember little so and so and whoever in the neighborhood, and now he the one that's the new man on the block selling dope.
Exactly.
So you remember like like the transition of how those things happen, and then even now being a full blown adult and looking back and seeing a lot of those people that live that lifestyle that really doesn't, whether they did or in jail or they basically living in the capacity of not of their full truthness, like what they could have possibly been. And I feel like sometimes it's a it's kind of like it's self-inflicted, and it's kind of like a decision. It's a decision you make, but then sometimes it's kind of like a lack of. We have just a lack of resources of things that is not readily available to our particular community. You know, it's not like if I was a kid and I really wanted to play an instrument. How would I get that if I was in the middle of the hood? Like where would I go? Because if my mom don't have any money, but for whatever reason I have some type of interest into the piano. I really want to learn how to play the piano. Or I had a thing about horses. I seen horses on TV one day, and I want to really go see a horse and ride a horse one day. Like, so it's things like that I feel like it's unfortunate, but it's like, how can we provide our community with those things that we know that our kids typically wouldn't be able to have? And that's honestly how the nonprofit really was born. How can I, whatever that is, even if it's little small increments, how can I start implementing, giving some of the things that I know that's not readily available to the community that I live in and I've been living in?
Yes.
I remember
So
they
it
talked
never
about
been
bringing
there.
horses to Davidson Avenue.
They're bringing them now.
Yeah, I mean that's
you
it's
saw
huge.
that?
That's huge.
Over
So
there
I
in
know that
Dexter
it's been
area.
a few they got some few camps that have been directed towards black kids learning how to
Right.
because I want to say it was Camp Casey. They got another one where it was all black owned though.
Okay.
It was a black guy. I have to look at the name, but it's a few of them that has been like that. And I think that's really, really good. I think that's really, really good.
Representation does matter, and you do need people of color in those communities who understand. We talked about this on that training this morning. Peers.
Yeah.
People want people who have that lived experience, and it's good. We want to see that we can do it. We can do it too. It's it's a black guy on it. That's how proud we were with the black guy owning the gas station in our community. You can come and say, "Oh, somebody can come in here. There's hope for me. I don't have to just be the worker. I could be the owner."
Yeah, used to be a shell on 6 Mile and the lodge was black owned as I came up as a kid and a youth. And you always want to go there, help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's
he always
deep.
had kind words for you.
All these years, 40, 50 years later, you still talking about that one gas station
Yeah.
in a community that is
And I think
majority.
too with that, it's just that it's our turn. It's our turn. And I feel like, as a whole, I don't get off into like, I know it's Black History Month, and I try not to get off into the sadness of the things that our ancestors and things experience. I'm thankful for the sacrifice because we are able to sit here and do things because people were willing. And that's why I feel like it's so much of a passion of a fight for myself, because I'm like, if they willing to go get cracked across their head,
Exactly.
you can't sit at the table with you can't go to the same bathroom. You can't even eat at the, it's just so many of the things that we get such a luxury on that we don't even.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get up and go to the bathroom. That's white only bathroom. You got to go all the way around to the back, down around the corner. Can you imagine that? Like that one movie with Taraji when the guy say, "Where you been?"
Yeah.
And she said, "I have to go to the bathroom, but I got to travel all the way on the other side of the
figures or whatever.
yeah."
Exactly.
And so just think about all
He
of
was an
those
ally.
things.
Remember, he didn't see it then, and we have allies, right?
Yeah. We come up in different times. Thinking about you talking about as a youth and things, I was just reflecting on some of the things me and my friends thought about. Like in junior high, high school, we lost a lot of people. A lot of people killed.
Yeah, that's
So
normal,
how was
too.
they killed when and junior high is like middle school? So that's
Yeah,
very
most of
revolutionary.
them shot and killed. So I remember I remember one time in high school,
It's
we
sad.
lost a friend, and my mother had made chili this day, and somehow all the guys ended up over my house, and we ate chili and talked about them. A lot of people don't understand those experiences.
And I think too, as a young man, and all of your friends, those are times when the kids needed some type of therapy. We need to unpack why is this happening at
Wasn't no
12 or
adult
13
around.
years. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
at
I
13
know,
years old, I
right,
could not
right.
imagine my son coming home and saying, "Oh yeah, Ray, he got killed today." Like, and this was one of his friends because he always had little boys at my house,
Right.
Yeah,
or his friends spending the night and
Yes.
stuff. So I couldn't imagine like we burying one of his friends. Like
Yeah.
that's something typical, and they only in middle school.
And nobody's talking
So I
about
feel
it.
like that's
there
a
wasn't no
lot.
counselor at school.
And
It
so
just,
it get accustomed to now all your friends are, thank God, because Ray ain't make it to 21. I'm
Right,
glad we
exactly,
did make it to
yeah.
21.
Yes. It is sad.
Yeah.
And you are right about what you're saying. We need that therapy. That's what we talked about. Nobody's counseling. All this is happening, and the kids are managing it on their own. Um, we're about to run down time, so I'm going to start another show. But we're going to come back with part 2.